So this is day 4 of our Sermon in the Mount. This is part 2, catching up from yesterday, which is the fulfilment of the law. So I'm just going to, there's only 2 verses to explain, but I'm just going to read them from the NIV today to make Jacob happy that I'm not reading from the Message. And then I'm just going to explain them. So verse 19, therefore anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commands and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. And this is written because some people in the crowd were really good at telling other people what to do. It reminds me a little bit of when Ali tells me how to stack the dishwasher properly. Properly being depending on who you listen to. But while they were really good at telling others what to do, they completely missed the point of God's laws themselves. Jesus made it clear that obeying God's laws is more important than actually explaining it. But it is much easier to study God's laws and tell others than to necessarily put it into practice ourselves. I just wonder, how are you doing at obeying God yourself? And the second verse is verse 20. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. And the Pharisees were really thorough and trustworthy and reliable in their attempts to follow the laws. So how could Jesus reasonably call us to be to have a greater righteousness than theirs? The problem was the Pharisees' weakness was that they were content to obey the laws without allowing God to change their heart or their attitude. So Jesus was saying that the quality of goodness should be greater than the Pharisees. They looked really religious, but they were far from the kingdom of God. God judges as well as our hearts as well as our deeds. It's in the heart that our real allegiances lie. You need to be just as concerned about your attitudes that people don't see as about your actions that are seen by all. Take care, guys. Have a good evening.